I'm sure you all have seen the new April 1st ban list by now. They actually released it a couple days earlier, which is kind of strange. Not to go too far into it, I just want to talk about my thoughts on it and how I think Mermail is affected going forward, because we have this really weird period for the next month, really from now until the end of April before Eternity Code, where there's probably not going to be any events, but it is still kind of like a format, so to say, I want to discuss and talk about how Mermail is affected, because a lot of my Master Rule 5 combos, a lot of Master Rule 5 combos you saw in general from anybody on YouTube, involved a lot of cards that were hit on this ban list, namely Glow Up Bulb, which in my opinion was the best tuner to run in Mermail, just because you could bring it out with Christian Needle Fiber, and then you could bring it back really easily with milling a card. Unfortunately, we lost it. There are some replacements though, and I just want to talk about what we lost, what can be replaced, and what the deck can play going forward. So in terms of what we lost Glow Up Bulb, which really sucks. This could be replaced by Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron's not as good because Jet Synchron you have to discard a card from your hand to revive it from the graveyard, which isn't terrible because it could be literally any card. Unfortunately, that discard doesn't trigger Gunda, I believe, because I believe Jet Synchron says send, not discard, which is a bit annoying, but that's not the worst thing in the world. There's also the Fishboard card, which I think I have in this little pile of cards that I want to talk about here. You have them both here, actually. There's this Fishboard card. Fishboard Launcher. Okay, not to be confused with Fishboard Blaster. I've gotten comments saying this card's banned. This card's not banned. It's a different Fishboard card. There's a couple of Fishboard cards. This one's from Abyss Rising. The one that's banned is from an older set. I believe it's from Duelist Genesis. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, so this one's really good because it can come back for free if your entire graveyard is water. However, you can only synchro it into a water, which right now there's really nothing that amazing. There is the level 8 Adamanti, I think that's how you say it, water synchro that can negate a spell or trap coming, which you could synchro to that, which is kind of cool. Other than that, there's really nothing that fantastic. A lot of the water synchros are kind of lackluster going first right now, except for the Adamantia, which I'll talk more about the water synchros later. So I think that Jet Synchron is what I'm playing going forward. Also, if you guys want to see an updated deck profile, it'll probably be out on April 1st, so just keep that in mind. I like to upload my deck profiles on the 1st of the month, and I want to get a couple of days at least doing some testing and stuff like that, and do some theory and talk about some stuff with the deck. So anyway, other things that we lost, and this is not as big, but it actually really annoys me because when I saw Instant Fusion was limited, I'm like, oh, I'll just play 2 Toads and 2 Bahamut Shark. Toads at 1. So, it kind of sucks. Like, I still think it's worth playing Bahamut Shark because I saw a combo on Abysshire's channel, which I'll link their channel in the description, that basically shows a way where you can use Abyss Pike essentially in a Mermail combo to make Totally Awesome off Bahamut Shark as your 5th summon. And that's one thing I really, really like. You know, in the past, Mermail kind of couldn't really play under Nibiru, at least get a negate for your 5th summon. And with Abyss Pike and the new Master Roll, you can. And transversely, if you just open up with Swap Frog plus any other frog, you can just hard make Toad as like your first or second or your 3rd summon technically to get around Nibiru, which I like. So I do think one Toad is still worth playing. However, it would have been really cool to play 2 Bahamut, 2 Toad, and do the crazy Appaloosa combos. But at least we still have 1. You know, at least we still have 1. Maybe I'll go back to 2 because I doubt it'll do anything going forward. You never know. Same with ABC Dragon Buster. Maybe that'll like go to 2 or 3 and then the list or 2. I don't know. And now probably the biggest hit I would say is Instant Fusion. So and Cross Sheet, I guess, is kind of lost in this too because you don't have Instant Fusion anymore really. So I get that Instant Fusion still at 1. And I get that Instant Fusion is probably... Oh, this glare is really annoying me. And I know that Instant Fusion is probably like the best general extender in the game because you literally just play it, pay 1,000 life points, dedicate an extra deck slot to any monster level 1 through 5, depending on your strategy, and you can do a lot of damage. If you go second, you can play Thousand Eyes. I always loved Instant Fusion as a card. I feel like it probably should have been hit like 10 years ago, to be honest, because Instant Fusion is one of those cards that just got better as time went on. When it came out in 2005, I believe, in Cyberdark Impact, didn't really do much. Synchros came out, it got better. XYZ came out, it got better. Links came out, it got even way better. And then we got other good fusions along the way, like Millennium Eyes and Mud Dragon and all these other stuff. And Norden, shout out to Norden, I guess, which basically was Cross Sheep. And now with only 1, like, I do think it could still be worth playing as an extender. Because you just play it, get a water out, boom, really cool. Easy extender. Pay 1,000. And that's one thing that I feel like Mermail kind of struggled with, is a lot of people, like, there's a lot of combos like, oh, hey, you just need these 2 cards plus an extender. And it's like, okay, but what's the extender? Because a lot of times your extender would be Swap Frog or Teus, or an extra Teus, that is. And those require a discard. Or Aqua Spirit, which you need a water engrave, which could mess up your Mulan Glacia plays. So that's why I really like Instant Fusion. I even played it before Cross Sheep a lot because it was just an extender. And now with only 1, I really don't think Cross Sheep is worth playing. Because you have to vote, you essentially have to devote 2 extra deck slots to 1 main deck card. In an extra deck that's already really tight. It's not completely worthless, but I am actually going to just cut it from my list entirely. I don't think it's worth playing, in my opinion, anymore. Next up, card I want to talk about really quickly is Destrudo. So maybe wondering like, hey, nobody really played Destrudo in Mermail, and you're right. I have tried it in the past. One thing I want to mention though is I uploaded a video about a week ago, and I took it down as unlisted because I messed up the combo. And basically, it was a Dragon Link Mermail deck, which I thought for sure LP would get banned, but LP didn't get banned, so Destrudo got banned. However, in that combo, even though I used LP and Destrudo, you can still do some really cool Dragon Link Mermail plays that are 1 to 1.5 card combos. Basically, Gen X Undyne plus any card, or Diva plus any water, or Neptibus plus any water, and an Extender, I believe. Just gets you like the full Dragon Link board with like Appaloosa and a Heroic Seal. And if you have an Extender on top of the Diva, or excuse me, on top of the Gen X Undyne play, you could have Megalo with a spell negate and essentially have like 6 negates with the Moulin discard. Kind of crazy, I know. But we lost to Strudo, and that makes that combo a little bit different. But I do want to talk about Dragon Link Mermail. Maybe in a video tomorrow or something, I'll make a combo video for that, because it is still possible. It is just a theory that I have. But I'm actually genuinely considering playing it because Instant Fusion actually got hit and not LP. I thought LP would get hit before that, but I don't know. One Trish doesn't matter. I mean, should have whipped out my pretty DT one. This is just an old ugly secret one. I really like Trishula as a card. I don't know if I'm gonna play it. Obviously gets better with Master Roll 5. We'll see if I end up playing this. I think once the Deep Sea stuff, this gets better because you can spam out level 3s easier and just makes the numbers better for Trishula. And then we lost Mud Dragon, of course, the Instant Fusion target. We didn't really lose it. Like, you could still play Instant Fusion, still pretty good, but I mean, I don't really think playing Instant Fusion target is entirely worth it. I just don't like the idea of devoting 2 extra deck cards in an Instant Fusion target and Cross Sheep for 1 main deck Instant Fusion. I can't really justify that. And now what do we gain? So we have 3 Pot of Avarice now. This is something that I played at the start. When it first came to 1, I played 1. And it's a really cool card. You know, if you draw it, it's great because usually in your first turn board, you're going to get at least 5 monsters in grave. It's not that difficult. If you have Neptibus, you're going to do it easily. And now that it's at 3, it's actually a bit more consistent to draw it. And in theory, right, let's say you have Teus Dragoons plus this. You do your full Teus Dragoons combo. Then you can easily Pot of Avarice everything back, draw 2, and you can play hand traps. You could draw into a hand trap. So you could have your full board Teus Dragoons. And the reason why I say Teus Dragoons is because that's like, there's like 50 million combos you do off Teus Dragoons, and all of them are pretty good. And you could do any of those combos and then draw into an Ash, or draw into a Gamma Seal, or draw into a DD Crow, or draw into, I don't know, some random trap card that you play that could, you know, make your board even stronger. So I am going to definitely mess around playing 3 of these. Unfortunately, the thing I don't like about it, though, is you can't just, like, play it as your first card. You can't. It's not like Sekka's Light where you just play it, draw 2, and you can bait the Ash out that way. You have to play it at the end of your combo, but it is still something that's worth exploring. I think that if I played this card, it would be a 3 or 0, though, just because of that whole idea of, you know, if you draw it as a 1-of, it's like, okay, that's cool, you get 2 extra cards, but it's a 3 of, you'll just see it more. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but it's Pot of Avarice, it says draw 2, so you gotta consider playing a card that says draw 2. I do think, however, though, if you're playing a pure going second build, I think just play Extravagance. I don't think Avarice is worth playing with Extravagance, so yeah, keep that in mind. Also, I always play going first builds if I can, so, and everything I say about Mermail is pretty much from a going first perspective. If you play a going second build, just play 3 Extravagance, 3 Megalo, and OTK, that's pretty much it. And now the elephant in the room, I should say, that we got. We have 3 Divas now. Crazy. This was at 1 for so long, then I went to 2, and I was like, crazy, and I went to 3, and it's even crazier. One thing that I always got confused about Diva is a lot of people say, oh, Diva, it's Ash bait, and that's true. Diva is Ash bait. If they're going to Ash something, it's going to be the Deep Sea Diva. But one thing I never understood is there's cards like Tour Guide and Draconet, which are very, very similar to Deep Sea Diva. People go, oh, Tour Guide's so good, it's a 1 card this. Oh, Draconet's so good, it's a 1 card this. But they suffer from the same problems as Deep Sea Diva, so I don't really understand why people see Diva as so much worse than those cards when they all have the same flaws. Diva is a 1 card Needle Fiber 2. Diva is a 1 card anything, really. There's a lot you can do with this card. And the thing that I love, too, that it's at 3 now, is a lot of times in the past, I would see combos that are like Diva Teus. And I always hated those combos because in the past, you had 1 Diva. So you had to open your 1 Diva and your 1 out of 3 Teus that is unsearchable. Now that you have 3 Divas which are searchable, it makes the Diva Teus combos a lot more consistent. And now that people are playing not less hand traps, but now people aren't playing Droll, it just makes it a lot easier to go farther with Diva, which I'm really, really excited about. And then some other stuff that I think is interesting that I'm going to look into playing. I'm going to look more into the White Aura Monocero stuff, finally. I have turned a new leaf, and I am finally admitting that Abyss Spike is a good card after like 2 years of not playing that card. Basically, ever since Dumbledore got banned, I was like, there's no reason to play Abyss Spike. People would call it a starter. People would say, oh, Abyss Spike's so good. I just did not see it. But now that there's combos with it that can make you play it under Nibiru, I think it's really worth it. And transversely, if you play Abyss Spike since it's a fish, it makes Wet Aura Monoceros better as an extender. Also level 7, which can help you go into Draco Sack. And Draco Sack's really cool because there's a new card in Duel Overload called Mecha Phantom Beast Aurodon, this thing. It is a link 3 that you summon with 2 machines, so basically Draco Sack tokens. And it summons out 3 tokens, which you can't link for the rest of the turn. But the thing is, it helps to make synchro play so much better. So this is definitely something I'm going to mess around with. The only issue with it is you can only synchro, and it takes up a lot of extra deck space. So I have seen OCG combos in the past, like a year plus ago, that would use this card, not only in Mermail and a lot of other decks. And you know, any card that says summon 3 tokens, it's gotta be abused in some way, shape, or form. And then continuing with the synchros, you know, Brionac. If you play it going second build, I highly recommend you play this, of course. Going first, you don't need to play it. Going second, though, it just helps you clear boards. And then I only have 1 card for this next package, but the Crystron stuff. So I got comments about this in the past, even before Global got banned, like, hey, you should try out the Crystron stuff. And I looked into it, and somebody posted replays. I think their name was Connor. Shout out to you, Connor, if you're watching. And the Crystron stuff is really cool and really fun. There's a level 4 synchro, you bring out Needle Fiber, then you make this in your opponent's turn. This like pops 3 cards or something like that. Crazy. Definitely want to consider this. This is something I think is really, really strong. If you're playing a synchro heavy build, it's probably better. I tend to prefer the more link heavy negate builds. But I'm definitely messing around with this on Dueling Book and messing around with this doing test and stuff like that because I can't really leave the house because New York is still under quarantine. And then the last thing I want to talk about, and this is like the huge package, is actually, before we talk about this, I want to talk about hand traps first. So, as you guys know, this card, why is it upside down, is the bane of Mermail's existence. You summon Neptibus, you do your thing, and then they play Droll, you pass, usually. This single-handedly is the best hand trap against Mermail. You could argue Ash too, I guess, because if you summon Diva and it gets Ash, it hurts, but at the same time, if you have Taste, you can make Needle Fiber still and make a play nowadays, because thankfully Diva is a tuner. Another reason why I think it's better than Tour Guide, but I digress. Spiral is probably not going to be a deck, so I think this card will be played less. But since we're entering a new format, there's a lot of uncertainty. I do think hand traps in general will be played more, such as like Ash, DD Crow, you know, your generic good hand traps, while Droll will be played less. So that is something to be on the lookout for. I'm definitely taking these out of my side deck because I've actually never even played against Spiral in the last format. It was only like 2 months that they were around, pretty much, because of Magician's Souls coming out in like, what, mid-January? So yeah, something to keep in mind. And then the last thing I want to talk about, which I will make a video about this probably tomorrow, is the Guard Dragon stuff. I keep putting it upside down by accident. So, the Guard Dragons were not hit. Mainly Elpie was not hit. That's the most important one. And I just want to tell you guys that although this is kind of a huge extra commitment, not much of a big main deck commitment, with these cards, plus Genix Undyne and any card, or Deep Sea Diva and a water, or Neptibus and a water, you could do the full Dragon Link combo off of 1.5 cards, which I think is really worth exploring. The issues I have with it, though, is it can't play under Nibiru, and it is a huge extra command, which, again, I'll talk about that more in a video tomorrow. But I just wanted to talk about my ideas about Mermail going forward, the impact on the ban list. I did something similar to this in January when the ban list came out. I guess I'll do this every ban list. Instead of doing, like, a full ban list reaction, I'll just do, like, hey, how can Mermail benefit, or how does Mermail get hurt from this ban list? So, yeah, gonna do some test hands, stuff like that, gonna make some decks and try some things out, and hopefully on April 1st, or at the beginning of April, I'll have a deck profile for you guys in the new Master Rule format prior to Eternity Code. So thanks for watching, leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, I'll see you all next time, and